Hey intellectuals! In this video, we'll be understanding the theories of intellectual property. But before going into the theories of intellectual property, let's understand what is intellectual property in a nutshell. So, intellectual property is basically the stuff your brain creates. It is not something you can hold in your hand, but still it is valuable and deserves protection. Just think of it like this. You're writing a catchy song. The lyrics and melody are your intellectual property. You're inventing a new gadget. The idea and design are your intellectual property. So basically, intellectual property is something your brain creates and you cannot hold in your hand. That is, it will be in intangible form. It is an intangible property. So what is an intangible property? Intangible property is nothing but any asset without physical form. If an asset is lacking physical form, it is valuable. Asset is something valuable, and if that particular asset is lacking physical form, it is called intangible property. For example, trademark. Apple logo. It is a well-known trademark. It is having some goodwill, and that is an asset for the business. So that particular asset cannot be felt. We can see it, yet that particular goodwill cannot be felt. So that is called an intellectual property. So we understood what is intellectual property. Now let's try to understand what is intellectual property rights. The creators, inventors and the owners of the intellectual property will be given certain rights for its creation because they have used their human intellect and they have used their intelligence to create this particular invention. So they will be given certain rights. Such rights are called intellectual property rights. These rights will be exclusive in nature. What is exclusive rights? Yes, it is nothing but they will be given rights to use, distribute and get profit from their creations or inventions for a specific period of time. Article 2 Clause 8 of the Convention establishing the World Intellectual Property Organization, which is nothing but WIPO, addresses the rights related to intellectual property. It states that this intellectual property right concludes or encompasses the rights of performers, producers and broadcasting organizations. It ensures that these entities will be having some legal protections for their intellectual contributions in areas such as music, performance and broadcastings. And it will be recognizing the safeguarding mechanism for their creation and financial interest. So this is what WIPO is saying about the intellectual property rights. So I hope you understood what is intellectual property, what is intellectual property rights. Let's understand why do we need to study the intellectual property theories. We have to understand the theories of intellectual property for understanding the foundations. We have to justify the IP protection. When an intellectual property is protected, we have to justify why the intellectual property must be protected. What will happen if the intellectual property is not protected? Or what positive side is there for protecting the intellectual property? All these justification is important. So only when we study the theories, we'll understand these justifications. Then we have to balance between the private interest and the public interest. We have to strike a perfect balance between the public interest and the private interest. So for doing this, again we have to study the theories of intellectual property. And again, for interpreting and evolving laws, if you are going to expand the intellectual property law, or if you are going to add new elements into it, if you are going to reduce some elements from intellectual property, definitely we need to understand the jurisprudential concept of intellectual property. Only then it will be effective. Again, this is one of the important reasons, that is, understanding the foundation is one of the important reasons for studying the theories of intellectual property. The second reason behind the need for studying the theories of intellectual property is practical applications for creators and society. Again, this practical application for creators and society can be subdivided into 3 headings. That is fueling the innovation and creativity, protecting creators and preventing misuse, addressing the ethical concerns. So what do you mean by fueling innovation and creativity? When we study these theories, we'll understand how we can expand or how we can improvise the research and development and how the investment can be expanded. All these things we'll be studying under this concept. So we can understand how the law should be. We can interpret it. We can come to a conclusion. So for this we have to study the theories of intellectual property. As told earlier, protecting creators and preventing misuse. So while studying the theories like personality theory, we'll be dealing with it in the later slides. So while we are understanding the preventive theory and personality theory, we can understand how there can be a link between the creations and the creator. How the link should be. How strong the link should be. And it will provide us with arguments against unauthorized appropriation and unfair competition as well. So all these things will be coming under the protecting creators and preventing misuse part. Last but not the least, the addressing ethical concept. Ethical concern is very, very important in IP law. IP protection, ethical concern should be there. So again, when we explore about the social planning theory, we'll be dealing with it later. We'll understand the societal impacts of strong IP protection. Like the essential medicines and traditional knowledge issues, all these things can be covered. So, first reason for understanding the theories of intellectual property is for understanding the foundation. The second reason is practical applications for creators and society. Again, the third reason is empowering individuals and shaping the future. This again can be classified into 3 parts: navigating the IP landscapes, engaging in informed debates, and shaping the future of IP. What is navigating the IP landscape? We can equip the creators, we can equip the businessmen, we can equip the researchers with the knowledge to make informed decisions about protecting their works. Collaborating and utilizing the IP frameworks is very, very important. So when we are understanding this concept, all these can be answered. All these struggles can be answered. Then engaging in informed debates. When we have this knowledge of these theories, it will allow the individuals to contribute meaningfully to the policy. So we can know the jurisprudential concept, so we can contribute easily to the policy, that how the theory should be, how the laws should be, how the theory and the law should be. All these things can be interpreted. And the final part is shaping the future of IP. For shaping the future of IP, again we have to know the history and reason and the jurisprudential concept between the IP. So all these are interrelated concepts. So understanding the theories of intellectual property is very, very important. So that can be broadly classified and understood under 3 headings. The first one is understanding the foundation. The second is practical applications for creators and society. And the third heading is empowering individuals and shaping the future. I hope you understood the need for studying the theories of intellectual property. In my upcoming series, I'll be dealing with the theories of intellectual property and much more concepts regarding the intellectual property. So please do follow the Courtroom Intellectuals for updates. Thank you.